We're diving headfirst into the jaw-dropping dossier on Clifford Siglar and ripping the curtain off the savage truth behind the historic Fentanyl-Free America campaign.
183 kilometers per hour on the streets, a breathtaking police chase, and a massive amount of poison enough to take 26,000 lives in the blink of an eye. What happens when a crazed maniac decides to turn his sports car into a machine spreading white death? Today we will dive deep into the shocking file of Clifford Siglar while unveiling the brutal truth behind the historic 2026 Fentanyl-Free America campaign aimed at dismantling notorious drug super-cartels. Where will this fierce war lead, and what is the way out for the community? Leave a comment sharing your perspective, hit like and subscribe to the channel right now to follow this entire dramatic investigation journey. To protect the community from this devastating disaster, law enforcement agencies from the local to the federal level have had to make relentless efforts. They have conducted a series of extremely aggressive crackdowns with absolutely zero tolerance for criminals trafficking illegal substances. Every time a campaign is launched is another time authorities must face lurking dangers to bring a peaceful life to innocent citizens across the land of the free. One of the clearest testaments to the recklessness of smugglers, as well as the determination of the police, is a shocking case in the city of Little Rock. The story begins with a 38-year-old man named Clifford Siglar who sowed terrifying obsession among local residents. He led authorities on a highly dangerous high-speed chase with thousands of toxic drug doses hidden in his car. The outcome for this criminal was a fitting sentence of over 11 years in prison, which shows that the law is always extremely strict. Today's article will summarize this shocking case in detail while also placing it into the broader context of the campaign named Fentanyl-Free America. The peak of the investigation took place on March 18, 2025, when law enforcement executed a search warrant at Culpepper's residence in Tallahassee. On March 20, 2026, United States Attorney Jonathan D. Ross of the Eastern District of Arkansas officially announced the sentence for the criminal Clifford Siglar. This severe sentence did not come out of nowhere. It was the result of an incredibly arduous tracking and investigation process by authorities. These findings not only prove the severity of the operation, but also remind us of the potential danger when drugs are combined with weapons. This investigation was initiated by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration when they began detecting unusual signs from Clifford Siglar. They noticed he was engaging in sneaky behaviors, distributing fentanyl from a house hidden in the city of Little Rock. A rigorous and covert surveillance process was deployed by detectives since the summer of 2024, demanding immense patience and extremely sharp professional skills from the officers. These words help the community better understand why authorities must take drastic action to stem the flow of these toxic products. They had enough grounds and a firm belief that the packages being handed over were indeed illegal drugs poisoning society. The evidence collection was carried out meticulously to ensure that this cunning criminal would not have any chance to deny it in front of the judge. The climax of this tense special operation took place on August 26, 2024, a day when the authorities decided to close the net. This campaign aims to free communities from the scourge of drugs and violent crime that has existed for too long on the streets. He quickly loaded these suspicious bags into his shiny black Chevrolet Camaro, preparing for a guilty delivery run. In that context, Culpepper's case becomes part of a larger effort to build a safer society for everyone, especially children and teenagers. However, with the sophisticated nature and high alertness of someone who had been in and out of prison, Siglar soon sniffed out the danger. From this story, each of us can draw valuable lessons about clearly recognizing the consequences of drug. Without a moment of hesitation, the reckless criminal immediately slammed on the gas pedal to find an escape route, disregarding all traffic safety rules. An intense and breathtaking pursuit immediately took place on the streets, with close coordination between the Little Rock Police Department and the Arkansas State Police. Wailing sirens tore through the peaceful atmosphere of the city, signaling an uncompromising war between good and evil. Clifford Siglar's recklessness and disregard for human life were demonstrated by the fact that he drove the fleeing vehicle at a terrifying speed. The car sped down the street at velocities up to 114 miles per hour, equivalent to about 183 kilometers per hour, turning it into a literal killing machine. The school community and social organizations should also organize more awareness-raising programs so that everyone can act together. If you find that this story brings profound cautionary lessons, please remember to hit like and subscribe to the channel to support us. In your opinion, what punishments are most well-deserved for those willing to endanger the lives of countless pedestrians and drivers just for their personal gain? Your support is a tremendous motivation for us to continue bringing current event stories rich in humanity and education to the community. The criminal's frantic escape only truly ended when a courageous officer from the Arkansas State Police decided to take action. This officer used an incredibly precise professional intervention maneuver to disable the Camaro speeding like crazy. This intervention caused the fugitive's car to lose control completely and crash into large trees along the road, creating a deeply horrifying scene. The collision was so forceful that the car was heavily damaged and Clifford Siglar himself was thrown out of the cockpit by the impact. Yet with the stubborn nature of a hardened criminal, he still refused to give up his intention to flee. Despite the injuries on his body, he scrambled to his feet and continued to run away on foot, weaving through the surrounding areas to find an escape route. Many studies show that long-term use can lead to addiction, depression, and other psychological problems affecting learning and working abilities. This event is a vivid testament to the brave spirit and dedication of public servants in protecting the peace for the people. Schools can integrate drug prevention content into their curriculum so students better understand the consequences. In the footwell of the driver's seat, police found a .57 caliber handgun, clear proof that this criminal was always ready to fight back with violence. The presence of firearms shows the extreme level of danger that authorities must face when hunting down those who spread white death. Even more dangerous and terrifying was when authorities inspected the trunk of this sports car. There they discovered a backpack containing approximately 2.6 kilograms of fentanyl, along with numerous specialized digital scales. These scales are exactly the handy tools that drug dealers often use to divide large quantities of illicit substances into small doses for distribution to the market. To truly understand the severity and brutality of the 2.6 kilogram fentanyl figure, we need to know the true nature of this drug. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid with extremely potent toxicity, hundreds of times stronger than other common drugs. It can be used and sold in incredibly small doses. Sometimes just 1/10 of a gram is enough to take a human life. This means that if it had not been stopped in time by the brave police force, the resulting consequences would be immeasurable. The massive amount of drugs hidden in Siglar's backpack could easily be divided into over 26,000 separate fentanyl doses unleashed onto the black market. It carried a risk of mass fatalities for residents in the city of Little Rock, as well as spreading to neighboring areas, sowing mourning for tens of thousands of families. Even more notably, when authorities reopened Clifford Siglar's criminal record, they realized he was definitely no rookie just stepping into a life of crime. He previously had an extremely serious felony conviction related to the possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute to the community. Parents and teachers can share real-life stories like Culpepper's case to illustrate specific consequences instead of just talking empty words. Furthermore, after serving his prison and probation sentences, Culpepper will have the opportunity to reintegrate into society if he truly makes an effort. Laxity and supervision can create opportunities for malicious individuals to return to their old paths, causing exponentially more devastating consequences. Every family and every community must also heighten their vigilance, proactively reporting suspicious signs to join hands with authorities in protecting a clean living environment. On September 11th of 2024, a grand jury officially handed down a strict indictment against the criminal Clifford Siglar. He was charged with a series of extremely serious crimes, including possession of fentanyl with intent to distribute, sowing toxic seeds for society. Added to that were charges of possessing a firearm as a convicted felon and possessing firearms in furtherance of illegal drug trafficking activities. Facing such glaringly obvious and undeniable evidence collected by authorities, his hopes of escaping guilt were completely extinguished. On October 1, 2025, Clifford Siglar had to bow his head and plead guilty in court to the charge of possession with intent to distribute more than 400 grams of fentanyl. This guilty plea was an important step forward in bringing justice to the community while demonstrating the absolute deterrent power of the U.S. legal system. Every successful case contributes to consolidating the people's trust in the legal system and encourages them to participate more actively in protecting the community. This honorable judge, on behalf of justice, sentenced Clifford Siglar to 140 months in prison, equivalent to about 11 years and 8 months behind bars in a federal penitentiary. Accompanying this strict prison sentence was an additional penalty of 5 years of supervised release after he completes his prison term to ensure he has no more opportunities to reoffend. This highly complex case was brought to light and successfully prosecuted thanks to the tireless investigative efforts of the DEA. Alongside that, the seamless and courageous coordination of the Little Rock Police Department and the Arkansas State Police cannot go unmentioned. This success also bears the strong mark of the brilliant and decisive legal direction of Assistant United States Attorney Lauren Eldridge. This fitting and extremely strict sentence is a stern warning sent to any individual or organization intending to enrich themselves illicitly. It is a wake-up call for those heartlessly building their fortunes on the lives, health, and suffering of millions of citizens in the community. No dark force whatsoever can stand above the law, and the price to pay for devastating society will always be the loss of their own freedom. The tremendous educational value from Siglar's story is a reminder to the younger generation about the unfathomable consequences of falling into the path of addiction and illegal substance trafficking. A momentary impulse for massive immediate profits can be traded for an entire youth buried in a dark prison, losing one's family and future. We need to build a healthy lifestyle, having firm fortitude to say no to all toxic temptations creeping around our living environment every day. What do you think about the role of family education in preventing teenagers from being exposed to and drawn into these deadly drug trafficking rings? Please share your thoughts in the comments section, and don't forget to hit like as well as subscribe to the channel so we can spread meaningful messages together. The combined effort of every individual will be a solid brick building a sturdy fortress to protect society from the drug epidemic. The arrest and conviction of Clifford Siglar in the city of Little Rock is actually not an isolated or random event by the police force. On the contrary, it is a highly important and prominent puzzle piece in a panoramic picture of the effort to sweep drug crimes across the entire U.S. territory. This breathless chase with 2.6 kilograms of fentanyl has highlighted the urgency of a large-scale campaign launched by the DEA named Fentanyl-Free America. This historic campaign was launched with full determination in October 2025, carrying an innovative and highly practical goal. The focus of the campaign is to concentrate on targeted law enforcement operations aiming directly at the illegal drug distribution networks expanding everywhere. The campaign set a core mission of completely dismantling this toxic supply chain while simultaneously boosting awareness across the entire community about the drug menace. Moving into the early months of 2026, Phase 2 of the Fentanyl-Free America campaign was deployed in an extremely aggressive and lightning-fast manner. In a mere period of 30 days from January 12th to February 10th, 2026, law enforcement had to work at 200% capacity. That relentless effort brought shocking results, far exceeding all initial predictions and dealing thunderous blows to underground criminal organizations. Just within the brief time span of this second phase, anti-drug forces dealt a fatal blow to the cartels by seizing a massive amount of evidence. They successfully confiscated over 4.7 million pills containing fentanyl, along with nearly 2,396 pounds of fentanyl powder nationwide. This enormous volume is equivalent to law enforcement timely removing over 57 million deadly doses of fentanyl from residential communities across America. The administrator of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, Mr. Terrence Cole, gave incredibly forceful and profound remarks assessing the nature of this terrible crisis. He emphasized that the drug poisoning epidemic we are facing has been fueled and manipulated by designated terrorist cartels. These cold-blooded individuals are operating on a scale and with a level of sophistication no different from multi-billion-dollar economic corporations in the global market. These criminal conglomerates have ruthlessly weaponized fentanyl, turning it into a massive profit-generating tool with a very clear and sinister goal. They want to increase the level of dependence and addiction of the American people to illegal drugs, thereby easily draining their money and destroying their health. Administrator Cole strongly affirmed that the continuous seizure of large amounts of drugs will directly strike the core profits of the cartels, weakening their financial potential. At the same time, these campaigns also play a pivotal role in dismantling and eradicating the sophisticated money laundering networks that the cartels have spent many years building. The current expansion of drug cartels is absolutely terrifying. They absolutely do not spare any territory or residential community as long as that place yields a profit. While Siglar's case occurred in the southern region of the U.S. in the state of Arkansas, the situation in other regions is not any more optimistic. In the vast Midwest region, the Omaha Field Division of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, the agency in charge of security oversight for 5 states, also recorded staggering numbers. This area includes the states of Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota, traditionally known for their peacefulness, but now also straining to fight against the drug storm. Special Agent in charge of the Omaha Division, Mr. Dustin Gillespie, provided information that made many startle in fear regarding the extent of fentanyl's infiltration. After being released from prison, Culpepper still has to strictly comply with the probation conditions to ensure he does not reoffend. He issued a weighty assertion that although we might live hundreds of miles away from the southern border area, the danger is always present right next door. The toxic fentanyl found in the peaceful communities of the Midwest actually has a direct and intimate connection to the brutal criminal cartels operating in Mexico. The Fentanyl-Free America campaign has exposed the dangerous and sophisticated level of drug crimes from fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine to heroin, along with thousands of firearms and millions of counterfeit pills. U.S. law enforcement has conducted over 3,000 arrests, dismantled multiple large-scale clandestine laboratories in Arizona and California, and seized thousands of pounds of drugs and hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and cryptocurrency. These campaigns show a profound lesson: nowhere is safe from drugs, and only close coordination among law enforcement agencies, along with education and raising awareness for parents and the community, can protect the younger generation from this deadly threat. Therefore, the role of adults in the family and society is extremely important. However, the resounding success of the historic Fentanyl-Free America campaign has ignited strong hopes for a safer community. The joint effort and heightened vigilance of every individual and family serve as the strongest steel shield to protect the younger generation from the unpredictable drug menace. What are your thoughts on Siglar's fitting sentence and the police's relentless efforts to wipe out notorious cartels? Leave a comment sharing your perspective, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel today so you won't miss our upcoming dramatic investigation files.